Gut check of all gut checks, man. Yeah. That was a gut check. That was impressive, the way you guys fought and fought and fought. It looked bad at times, it looked great at times. But you handle the ups and downs, and that's what you have to do to be a good football team. You got to be able to handle the ups and downs. You went out there and went to war. That's what you got to do. Great job. Proud of you, gentlemen. Proud of you. We gained some respect back today. Super job.
Well, okay, Buffalo Bills, 2nd and 1. A win is a win is a win. Right, Vin?
Absolutely. Like I said, if the Bills go to the Super Bowl and they win 3-2 and they punt the entire game and they win because they had one field goal, I'll be happy. You know, we go back when we were 13-3 and Jim Kelly and the boys, and you drive home on the radio and you just hear all the negative things that happen, and they say stuff like, if we were playing Joe Montana and the boys today, we would have lost. But somehow, some way, the Bills always figured out how to win with Jim Kelly and the boys. 13-3, 12-4 seasons. You know, they were consecutive 4 Super Bowls.
Sure.
But they won those games, and that was a type of game that they would win.
Yeah, well, they say the good teams win the close games, and it doesn't matter how. Who cares? You know, if you go 16-0 and you only win 3-0 every time, I don't give a shit how that happens.
Well, that doesn't happen though. You know, you win 3-0. You dominate some games like we did against Kansas City.
Right.
You know, and some games you just squeak out. Somehow they win. You know, Phoenix 4-1 coming in. They beat the New England Patriots.
In New England,
yeah. So you got to be happy. There's a lot of things, we'll talk about it, you know, that I wasn't happy about. Fitzpatrick doesn't appear to be that great quarterback that we want us to carry on his, you know, carry him on our back, carrying us on his back.
Definitely not. We're pushing him in a baby carriage. I think he's not doing very well.
Tell me what we were just saying a couple of minutes about Stevie Johnson shaking his head.
Well, I'm sure for those of you that watch the game, and I'm assuming if you're watching this, you watch the game, or maybe not. But the fact of the matter is, Stevie Johnson is getting open just about every single play. He's doing his moves. He's spinning. He's here. He's there. He's slanting. He's going down and out. He's getting open. Fitzpatrick's either throwing it over his head, he's getting killed, or he's throwing it to his feet, and Stevie's on the ground just shaking his head. I mean, you've seen it, right?
The guy could have had at least 150 yards yesterday of receptions if he would just hit him.
And we're not asking him to throw deep because he just can't, and that's fine. He did throw deep one time, right?
Did he? I don't remember. No, I don't think he did throw it.
Not even a nice incomplete. Didn't make him. What do they say? Keep him honest.
Well, maybe a couple. Maybe once or twice he did throw it long.
I don't think so. I don't think I watched. I said I wasn't going to watch the game this week, but I did.
No, I think. Who's our second string? I want to say Freddie.
Well, Brad Smith threw it deep.
Brad Smith, yeah, but no. Our second string wide receiver, Donald Jones, he went long and just didn't hit him. He just didn't hit him.
He can't hit it deep. Well, I don't think he's hit one good deep throw.
Why did you get this T.J. Graham? He's supposed to be the speedster. Just send him long.
He had one play where he ran before he had the ball
but I'm talking bombs.
Oh, yeah, well, right. Well,
let him go out and throw a bomb.
Well, that's another thing. Now, we won't focus on it too much. We all know Fitzpatrick leaves something to be desired, and we'll move along. We'll get the running backs. The best player on the team, on the offense for sure, is Spiller. They're still giving Jackson the ball a bunch, but you know what? I think I do like Jackson pounding that ball up the middle because he's better at it. He's more durable, maybe.
Except
what do
for
you
that
think?
First play of the game, he gets a fumble, and it's a tough one. The helmet goes right on the ball. Then they get the quick field goal. But our defense came in, played strong, and stopped them from scoring.
Better the first play than the last play.
Yeah.
Right?
But C.J. Spiller looked pretty awesome on a couple of those runs. He would run full speed, stop, make a little juke, and then just take off, especially on that touchdown. He did that 2 or 3 times. Nobody can catch him in open field. They got to double, triple team him to catch him.
That's something that when he first came into the league and people were suspecting, or they called the draft suspect, and we've talked about this before. But now he didn't make moves like this then.
Because he didn't have the opportunity. He'd get tackled in the backfield.
Well, maybe so.
They try to set him up on a screen. He'd get hit before he caught the ball. I tell you, there was one play early in the season, his rookie year, that if Fitzpatrick would have gotten on the ball, it was a screen play. It was early in the year, And it just kind of went by. Nobody really noticed it. But I watched it a couple times on the replays, and I DVR all the games. I watched it from behind. If the ball would have got to him, he would have had a ton of room. He might have had like an 80-yard catch. And the same type of thing I remember happening with Thurman Thomas when he first started his rookie year. We had season tickets. I was at every game. And Thurman Thomas would just like get tackled. And you could just see if he would have just got past that next guy, he would have been gone for another 20, 30 yards. And just a finger on him, he'd fall. And he said, you know what, this Thurman, he doesn't look like he's going to be – he doesn't look right now like he's great because he doesn't seem to be getting a lot of yards, but you just see the potential, and you knew there was a huge upside with Thurman. And obviously with Thurman, he was in the Hall of Fame. There's upside.
Right, of course.
Knock on wood, I'm hoping that Spiller ends up in the Hall of Fame, but he had a Hall of Fame type moves yesterday, even though he had 88 yards. I mean, he had some
11,
great runs.
I think it was, or 14 runs or something like that. Not a lot of touches, 12 runs maybe, 88 yards.
Yeah,
great,
that's the
very
thing.
good game.
7 yards a carry. Why doesn't he have 23 carries?
Well, because you got to have Brad Smith in the Wildcat, Even though the one run was very good, and they did a couple things out of the but if you sans the pass,
what? Wait,
sans the pass.
Wait, say it again. You gotta, Okay, I'm reading the paper this morning, and we'll ask Brendan. He's on the phone. We're coming up on this one, but I'm reading the paper, and Chan Gilly says, the Wildcat, I wouldn't do it again. We're at the 35-yard line. Why be fancy? If I had it all over to do again, I'd run the ball. And I said to myself when I'm reading this, I said, if you had it all over to do again, you'd run the ball. We got the ball at the end of I think it was overtime, to the 35-yard line, and he threw 3 straight times. What a guy, this Fitzpatrick is having an awful day. And I kept saying, if this was baseball, they would have pulled him for another pitcher by now. And now you're putting the game in the hands of a guy that's having a terrible, he can't hit the side of the barn. That third down play, Jackson was so wide open. He could just, just hand it to him, and he couldn't do it. I said, just hand the ball off to Spiller 3 straight times right into the line at the 35. Say he's averaging 7 yards a carry. Just say he gets 7 yards on all 3 carries. You move it up. You have a 45-yard kick. It's not a chip shot, but chances are it's going to be better than a 53. And here they are. Now they had to make the decision: 53-yard field goal or punt. Let's try to get them deep. So what do? They punt it through the end zone. And we'll talk about that, too, with Ruvel Martin putting his foot on the line. And now it's a 15-yard punt. Essentially, we had a 15-yard punt from the 35 to the 20. That's what it ended up. So why not run the ball 4 times?
You could have thrown another interception for that. Who cares? You just throw it in the end zone. Give it a shot.
But I'm not saying throw the ball. I'm saying run the ball at that point. And Jan Kelly says, next time I'm in that situation, I'll know. But he didn't know.
62-year-old man. He doesn't know what he's doing.
What do you think, Brendan? We got Brendan on the phone here from Washington, D.C. He watched the game last night, and we went a little longer before we got to you. Brendan, how you doing? You still there?
Hey, guys. Good. Like the show so far. Keep up the good work.
Hey,
I think I might have missed the Gailey quote that you read, because what I saw was he said if he had to do it over again on the Brad Smith call, he would call that same play.
So that's what he said in the paper today.
Thinking there.
Either way is terrible.
Either way, terrible. But like you guys said, a win is a win. And Fitzpatrick, he looked pretty horrible. But at the same time, he did not turn the ball over. And when Fitz doesn't turn the ball over, our defense can get some stops early, like they did. That's spells success for this football team.
I think you're right about that, and I know even on one pass in particular, and it was one of the ones that I mentioned where Stevie's shaking his head after, when you saw the replay, if he would have made it a good pass and put it where it should have been, there was a big arm that was knocking it down or intercepting that ball. So, I don't know exactly what he's seeing. He seems to be regressing, but hey, if he's not fumbling or throwing interceptions, we seem to be winning football games.
That's the big thing. Turnovers kill us. It seems that we stay away from the turnovers, we're in good shape. Wasn't there a pass early to the Donald Jones again, where he had him over the middle? It seemed like he was open
behind him or something like that.
If he would have cut it, might have been a touchdown. We got a field goal out of that drive. It was about the 4-yard line. And then the interception on the Wildcat. And they said they practiced it all week, and those receivers didn't end up in that spot, but the guy that intercepts the ball was guarding the guy that the ball wasn't even intended to go to. So, in that situation, maybe the coaches called the right plays and the player didn't didn't do that. You shouldn't have two wide receivers in the same spot in the field. And if they were spread out a little bit, one guy was in the corner, one guy was in the middle, then it wouldn't have ever been an interception, and the drive would have continued.
Right.
So,
well, let's while we got Brendan on the phone here, let's switch gears here. I know he's big on the defense. Brendan, I know Arizona's line isn't very good, but we saw some life. What did you think about that?
Well, I think the defensive line, I kind of think of it as holding serve against what probably is the worst offensive line in the league. So, it was good to see. We would have had some major issues, if they didn't dominate the game, but they were able to, and they controlled the line of scrimmage most of the game, and so that was good. We'll just see if they can, keep it up going forward here, because it's definitely not getting any easier for them.
Well, what do you think about, they got a bunch of sacks. I think that Barnett, I think, is a solid linebacker. He had 2 sacks, and Williams had 2 sacks. And there's a couple times where they had the quarterback in their grasp, and the quarterback's an inch from the ground, and he kind of just throws it away. And then they give the explanation that, there's somebody in the vicinity. In the vicinity is one thing, but you can tell he's intentionally grounded. He's not trying to make a completion. He's just getting rid of it to avoid the sack. And it kind of defeats the spirit of the rule. What is the rule on that, Brendan? Did they change that? Do you know? Is it in the grasp?
No, I look at that as a good play by the quarterback. If he can see a receiver that's close to the area, he knows that he's going to throw it at his feet for an incompletion so he can avoid the sack. Good play. I was pretty impressed by him.
I'm a homer. I'm saying no way. I think it's bullshit. Yeah. It should have been sack.
Even though his sternum probably got cracked when those 2 guys just squashed him into the ground, so he might be done for a couple games. Now, did you hear the news? I know I didn't hear it because I don't know, coming home from work, or I wasn't paying attention to the websites as much every 5 minutes like I should be. But Sean Merriman signed back on the team.
Well, that means probably Mark Anderson. Prognosis not good for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the IR coming later this week, and that's why Merriman's back. But hey, that's fine. And I think we're really seeing kind of the defense evolving. That we had Nigel Bradham, the rookie linebacker, get the start over Moats. I thought he had a pretty solid game, and as well as McKelvin. As much as I hated his play the first couple weeks, he's really come on. And if you notice, McKelvin and Justin Rogers were in the game in that last couple series, and Williams, the other cornerback, was out. So I don't know if he's losing favor with the coaching staff as well. He has not looked that good.
No, he has not.
It's good to see now McKelvin and Rogers and these guys stepping up.
Good points. I like that Brandon. He was a big kid. He was 6'.
Oh, Bradham, yeah. Bradham, he looked faster. He looked more athletic than Moats does out there.
You want somebody that could eat somebody up.
Well, he's pretty big, 245.
I think Moats is athletic and he's quick, but he's in the wrong positions. And that's the reason I like the idea of bringing Merriman back. I want a veteran that knows where he is. I keep calling him. He's number 56. He reminds me of Darryl Telley. You don't have to be fast. You don't have to just to be football speed. There's a difference between real speed and football speeds. And Moats is probably 10 times faster than him, but he just doesn't know where to be. And he doesn't know how to shed blockers, big fat linemen, being able to shred them. And you know what? A lot of Merriman's skills, even though he might not have those speeds, are still there. You could have all the skill in the world. And I was saying that Maven had all the skill. If you looked at him when they showed him without his shirt on, he's pure muscle. He's the fastest guy on the field. But for some reason, he couldn't shed a block. He couldn't do anything. Whereas Merriman, I watched him in the preseason game. I don't know if you remember, Brendan. You and I went to the preseason game together. But he made a couple of real nice shedding blocks and making tackles. And I watched the early season before he got injured last year against New England. I went back and watched that game, and there was a play early in the game, and Merriman stopped a touchdown from happening down by the goal line, and New England had to kick a field goal. So I just think that Merriman will make plays, and he'll be in the right position at the right time. You still there, Brendan?
I think we lost him.
I think we lost Brendan. But
let's go back. I want to touch on the defensive backs. I think what Brendan was saying was a real big deal there. Aaron Williams has looked. He's been susceptible. Every time there's a big, long touchdown, it's 23 with being beat by multiple yards. The only time he didn't get beat was the time
Gilmore lost a couple last week.
But the Browns Well, yeah, everyone lost something last week, but against the Browns, remember, Williams defended some passes, but they were only because they were underthrown.
Yeah.
They weren't underthrown, they were touchdowns. Earlier in the training camp, if you guys remember, a player who will be coming back week 12 from IR, Ron Brooks, the LSU product.
He looked really good.
He looked really good in the preseason, and he something with his, I forget exactly what it was that injured him, but he's going to be able to come back. And I think that Williams is going to be phased out. McKelvin's coming on, like Brendan said. Hey, you might be able to sign him.
Well, let's hope we sign him again.
Well, if he continues to play well. Because, you got to have a player, even if they come down, you got to remember, it's ebbs and flows. A player can work himself back up to a starting role, even like Merriman coming back.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be humbling to get cut. No one else wanted him. He worked out for San Francisco even. No one else picked him up. We had him all through training camp. He knows everything. We bring him back. I know he's friends with guys on the team.
I hope he he just makes it in the lineup. They do these types of moves like McCargo last year. He sits on the bench. They don't even put him in the game. I hope they activate him, and I hope they put him in the game. I hope he gets 10, 15, plays. He doesn't have to get 100 plays. And that's the same thing about Anderson. The friggin' guy gets hurt with 3 minutes left in the game that they're down 45-3 in.
This
guy shouldn't have been out there. And Belichick put him in 44% of the plays, and we paid him all this money, so we're going to play him 96% of the plays. You know what? If you play 44% of the plays, don't you think you're going to be that much better during those plays? And then you have more of a rotation, and that's what we thought we were going to have, was a real nice rotation of linemen.
Well, he doesn't play that much. I mean, he shouldn't have played at the end of that game for sure, but
I don't think he's like a first and second down guy. He's a second and third down type of a guy. Put the big fat guy in there and first down.
Kelsey goes in.
No, but a stout guy that's going to stop the run.
One last thing about the defense.
15 minutes, so we gotta.
Last thing about the defensive backs, though, I saw that the rookie Gilmore, he seemed to neutralize Fitzgerald. Even though Fitzgerald had some success, but if you notice when he got this touchdown catch and a couple other plays, he was either on a linebacker or on a different player. So I think he recouped his bad game from last week.
Yeah, and he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes, and you got to live and die with it. And you just hope that you see a progression. And sometimes it's up and down, but it's a steady flow up. And I think you're right. I think he's going to be a good player. He's a good pick. Aaron Williams, the jury's still way out on him. He's a second-year player. He doesn't seem like he's getting it. Mm-hmm. Fitzpatrick, we're stuck with him. He's not going to get any better.
Right.
We really need to get a new long-term solution. There's nobody there right now, so we have to live with him this year.
Until April.
And now the question is, do we want to have 7 or 8 wins and have a mid-round pick, or do we want to lose all our games and get a high pick, or do we hope that we can get 10 or 12 wins? And we're not going to get 12 wins, and we already got 3 losses. So if we can go 10-6, it would probably be a shot at the playoffs. So that's
kind of what we're hoping for. So, easier schedule at the end of the year.
We got 3 more.
What do we got next
week? We got Tennessee next week.
Tennessee. Do you know anything about them?
Yeah, they have a very poor running game. I guess I heard. I think they're the worst running. This is next to these guys running game. So we should have a chance against them.
Yeah, Chris Johnson's
the following
not doing
2
so
weeks,
well.
we get the bye. So we get a bye, and then we have to go to Houston, which just got humiliated by Green Bay last night, and then we have to go to New England. Oh. So if I'm saying we want to make the playoffs, we have 6 losses. If we get 2 losses there, we're up to 5. We can only lose 1 more game the rest of the way, and we got to really win the rest of the way. So if we want to make the playoffs, if we really do, we got to go 2 out of 3 out of these next. And I don't know who we're going to beat, Houston or
you got to steal one.
New England.
You got to steal one of those games.
You got to win your home game.
Well, I guess the final thing is we got Tennessee next week. Their line is really good, so if our defensive line is really stepping back up, if the defense is coming at them, Tennessee's only allowed 11 sacks all season, not 30 or however many Arizona's let in. So we got to get it. Now, they have Hasselbeck at the quarterback. He's a veteran quarterback, came back and beat the Steelers on Thursday night last week.
Done your homework here, Nate.
So Tennessee is a team that's right on our playing field. Frankly, as far as I see it, Chris Johnson might not be having a great year, but you never know. He'll have 150 yards against us because that's just kind of thing that'll happen. This team, the Cardinals, now granted their quarterback scrambled for 70 yards, 66 yards actually, so he beefed up their rushing yards a little bit. But we'll hopefully come out there at Ralph Wilson Stadium and beat Tennessee Titans.
Got to win at home.
And then we'll have the bye week, and then we can either cry or celebrate for a couple weeks after that.
Well, I wear the Bills jerseys when we win. I wear the Sabres when we lose. So hopefully next time I'm on TV, you'll see another Bills jersey on me.
All right, Vin. Sounds good. Go Bills.
Go Sabres.